Hello, friends. Welcome in, one and all. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, underway for another day. Hope you're doing well so far. Hope your day's going well so far. It is Thursday. It is October 31, the final day of October, November before you know it. It is also Halloween. We will celebrate all of those things for the next 3 hours on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you want to jump on Super Talk TV right now and check out my Halloween outfit, you better do it quick because I'm not going to have it on very long because it is my... It is my experience over the last hour or so that trash bags are not very breathable. That's right. I've come today as human garbage. Human garbage. Because that's what the Democrats, more specifically Joe Biden, referred to me as just the other day, as I have already voted for Donald J. Trump for President of the United States of America, as I'm certain many of you have as well. It's 8 minutes past 12 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. Libertarian Lunchtime Hour is in progress as we speak. We've lots to get into. Obviously, we'll talk a little Halloween. That should be a lot of fun. We'll remind you about our election night watch party, which should be a lot of fun. And we're all in on the presidential election, obviously, and we hope you are as well. 615-737-9986. At any point during the proceedings, if you want to communicate with us, turn a monologue into a dialogue, talk to me. Phone line's always available and always open between noon and 3. 615-737-9986. I might not get to you as jiffy quick as I want to, and I apologize in advance, but I promise I will get to you, and I care about you. That communication is my favorite part. Talking to you on the phones, talking to you on the super text line, it's my favorite part of what we do every day. So thank you for participating on those levels. Speaking of participating, Ken Weaver participates often, twice an hour with the news, and oftentimes he'll chime in from time to time before you very know it. Ken Weaver, I'm curious. I know what you're going as for Halloween. I can see it in your eyes.
Billy Gibbons.
Billy Gibbons was not my first guess, although that's a pretty good one, too.
I'd have to start talking like this.
Ken Weaver, award-winning newscaster. There it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm going as.
That's true. I've seen trophies with your name on it.
I'm going to talk to everybody like this tonight. Good evening. How are you?
Hello, Ken Weaver with the news. We've got candy. More at 11. You know?
That's a very scary outfit.
You hang out at the house for Halloween?
We're not going to do that tonight.
No?
We're going to go out and eat tonight on Halloween.
Good for you. That's a good night to do it, I think.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, and so there's no candy at the Weaver household tonight for all the little trick-or-treaters.
I've actually got I'm not wearing this to the event that I'm going to, but I got a little Halloween gathering that E and I are heading off to.
All right.
And so we bought no candy although I think she got a bag of candy just in case.
I was getting ready to say, E probably made something.
Oh, my goodness gracious. No, she made. You know what she made for the party tonight?
What?
It's called garbage. I'm not kidding.
I bet you it's real good.
It is really good. It's got onions and green olives and like salsa and it's a dip. But it's called garbage because you look at it and it looks like garbage. We've been having this forever, for years, and she thought it was appropriate considering that, we're garbage, according to Joe Biden, that we bring some garbage to the party. So there you go.
All right.
And I'm going as a Kamala Harris supporter.
Okay. What do you wear for that?
Well, I'm wearing one of those Mexican-style death masks, and I've got an orange. I'll send you a picture, Ken. I got an orange jumpsuit from a correctional facility. It's actually the Alabama Department of Corrections. It's an actual jumpsuit from the Department of Corrections that I have, and some and I've got that mask that I put on, and some gloves, and I've got a machete. And I'm going as a Kamala Harris voter. I mean, in Virginia or Arizona or any number of states that are allowing illegal aliens. I can't remember. What's the name of that gang that's coming up through the southern border?
Trendearagua.
Trendearagua. Okay. Trendearagua.
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 Yeah, Trendearagua.
That's very difficult for me to say. That hurts my tongue, Ken.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've said that.
That's not the only one here. MS-13.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just, that's much easier to say. I'm going as an MS-13.
Now, let's just say MS-13.
Kamala Harris supporter. That's what I'm going as. I'll send you pics. I'm very excited. I've got to find me some eye black, though. I got to get the black around my eyes. It makes it more menacing. I just want to sit on the porch where we're going to our friend's house. They claim that they get lots of kids.
Yeah.
And I just want to sit on the porch in my orange jumpsuit with my mask on, with my stocking cap pulled down low, with my machete on my lap. See what's up. Let's see who really wants that candy.
Is it going to be a real machete?
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
Are you going to tape the handle?
Actually,
Put
no.
black tape on the handle?
I'll go you one better, Ken. It's a machete that was homemade by a listener in Birmingham, Alabama, for me. Because I was getting hell. I invited, believe it or not, before I met Belle Kay, I used to invite my producers to my house.
Yeah.
I stopped that when I saw it. I knew
There's
that.
a sign in the bathroom that says, "Please do not do coke in the bathroom." How would I know that if I've never been to your house?
Well, that's true. You have been from time to time. It's a crochet. And by the way, Belle, tell the story right now. It's a
crochet, yeah.
It's crocheted, Ken.
Please do.
And it says, "Please do not do coke in the bathroom."
And it's framed. It's very cute.
Yeah.
And, it looks like something Erica would have made after somebody's scarred up.
We don't have many rules in the house, but one of the rules is, if you're going to do cocaine at the Murphy household, you've got to share with everybody. Don't do it in the bathroom.
No coke doing in the bathroom.
That's right. But no, Belle's been to my house. So yeah, a producer came over to my house, and we were in the garage, and I had 2 machetes. And he said, "Well, what in the hell does one man need 2 machetes for?" And I said, "Well, I just don't want to. I don't want to die for a lack of swinging back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what if the zombie apocalypse happens? You never know.
Well, if you take a swing and it gets stuck in their head or something, you need a backup.
You need a backup machete.
Well, if it gets stuck in a zombie's head, they die.
Do they?
Yeah, that's how you kill a zombie is you stab the brain.
You got to get the brain.
You get the brain and they're gone.
He's watching too much Walking Dead.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's the case with the zombies in The Last of Us.
Can't
I don't know if you can kill them that way.
Wait, is there a little zombie debate going on? It's all above my head. I don't do zombie. So,
Okay.
Belle, are you saying that in some zombie flicks that is not the way to kill the zombie?
Flicks? The hell are you talking about?
Okay, let me back up. Beep, beep, beep. Very appropriate. That's Donald Trump backing up the garbage truck. So you're saying in your zombie experience that's maybe not the preferred way to kill. You got to decapitate them, right? That's what I thought.
No, you stab their brain.
Okay, so Ken says stab the brain, Belle.
I'll yield to the award-winning newscaster.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's got the Google machine over there. He's got the DuckDuckGo.
I mean, you can cut the head off, but it's kind of like a snake. It can still chew.
I just remember seeing when I was like 13 or 14 years old, we went to the theater. It might be the one and only zombie movie I've ever seen, but I was there was a lot of different emotions going on. Mm-hmm. It was like Return of the Living. It was one of the Living Dead ones. It was like Return of the Living Dead.
Okay, yeah,
but this is the one where the punk rockers went to the graveyard and the chick got naked. And I'm like 13 years old. She was naked she was showing her breasticles, Ken. And I just remember being very disgusted by the zombies eating people and wanting brains. But then there were other emotions that flowed through my 13-year-old body when I saw the woman was taking off her top.
Yeah, when you see things like that as a young, impressionable, brand new teenager.
Mm-hmm. You don't forget them.
No.
No, you don't forget them. Sticks with you. So I felt like I had reached the zenith of my zombie movie watching experience.
I'm trying to figure out what zombie movie that was, Brother Murphy.
It was I'll figure it out. It was not Night of the Living Dead. I think it was Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, okay.
Or Return of the Night of the Living Dead, or it was it was like a 1980s. It wasn't the original black and white. It was like a 1980s remake where they had punk rockers. You should have seen
this movie. It was that was Return of the Living Dead.
Or Dawn of the Dead.
And they had the one guy that they pulled out of the canister, and he was almost all bones, but he was still.
It was a boyfriend, girlfriend, and one of them turned zombie and was begging, "Come on, please!" And she let him I think he was begging for her to let him eat her brains.
Goodness.
And she let him. She's like, okay, I love you. Yeah, you can eat my brains.
It's not a cult.
Whatever. Anyway, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
So what would it be? Mexican for Halloween? Well, I mean, what is Halloween fare in the Weaver household, or do you know, Ken?
Well, we're gonna go eat at a place where my son works at, a place called Toots.
I know Toots. I've never been to Toots. I've driven by it. Good.
It's good stuff. Yeah, man. They make real good burgers, real good chicken fingers. I mean, it's just it's just regular American food.
American food.
American food.
Well, with a name like Toots, you can't go wrong.
I like their tater tots. I go to town on those tots.
I'm a sucker for tots.
And a real ice cold
Oh,
Coors
my
Light.
goodness gracious.
Ooh, real cold Coors Light.
You ever had any of those tachos? They're like nachos, but
I have indeed.
I'm so hungry right now.
I make my own, and I put bacon grease on them.
I'm coming over to your place. That's so good.
And I do that because the rest of the family, they don't like bacon grease. But Brother Ken Weaver does.
You know what? You should look at the family and say, I raised y'all wrong. My grandma.
I'm a failure as a father.
I thought I loved vegetables when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Until I realized that my grandmother was putting bacon grease in just about every. She would put ham hock and black-eyed peas or collard greens or whatever. I mean, she's just putting the bacon grease in there. I was like, I don't know why everybody's complaining about vegetables. These taste great.
Did she keep it in a coffee can up on the stove?
She had a Well, she didn't have a coffee can, but she had it was pourable. It had a strainer in it on the top. And it was like a metal container, and so she would pour the bacon grease in there, and it would strain out the chunks, and she'd throw the chunks away, and she had the grease in the bottom that she could then pour back out.
Yeah.
All right, I have to signpost where we're going on the show today, and then I have to get out of this garbage bag because it's not breathable. It's very hot.
Yeah, getting hot. You're going to start sweating.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, like Kamala Harris and the rest of the Democrat Party right now. Sweating a little bit over Donald Trump's photo op, and it was a brilliant one. I mean, my goodness gracious, how good is that? I thought that we had perhaps reached the zenith of photo opportunities and quote-unquote presidential stunts with the McDonald's visit. It was brilliant. It showed that Donald Trump was willing to get down there and talk to the folks, and he will go places where Kamala Harris will not. He has bested himself with the garbage truck deal. We'll talk about that. We'll get your calls on it, 615-737-9986. Always available on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. Don't forget about our election night watch party. We'll give you more on that coming up in a moment. It's Locks for Trump Day 243. For 243 days, been growing my hair out in anticipation of a brand new president-elect of the United States of America come November 6th. And I've made an additional commitment that if it's Donald Trump, I won't cut my hair until Inauguration Day. It is episode 684 of our gatherings together today, either on radio, 99.7 FM, internet streaming, always available to you. You can download our app, take us wherever you go. And then, of course, there's Super Talk TV. You better check out this Halloween outfit while you can because it's about to go bye-bye. Super Talk TV is presented on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and while Bell K chooses not to participate on the television side of things, he does title them, and today's title is
Matt Murphy. He is dumpster-ready, landfill-bound trash.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Trump trash. Trump trash on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, there we go. Line them up. Where are you on this election on this October 31st? Only a scant few days left to go. I'm curious where you are. We'll get into Donald Trump and the garbage truck coming up. It's like the title of a children's book, President Trump and the Garbage Truck on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, speaking of that big party that we're having on Tuesday night, Glock Store is a big sponsor of that party. They'll have a big booth set up, and they'll be giving away a huge, dare I say, huge raffle on the night of the event. Now, don't you worry. If you get there and you have to leave early, you're still eligible to win one of the incredible prizes from our very own Glock Store. Now, the prizes, third prize is a tactical hydration mug. I have one of these. Gun-grade material goes into making of this mug. They actually have slides on the side of the mug, so you could, if you wanted to put a flashlight on your mug, if you wanted to put some other optic on your mug, you could do all of that. Thank you to the Glock store for that third prize. Second prize, 3 separate range sessions at their Shoot 270 rooms, which is an incredible prize in and of itself. And then the grand prize is a Glock 19 customized Glock. It's the Trump Glock with Trump on one handle, an American Eagle on the other handle, Trump on one of the slides, or one of the sides of the slides, and an American flag on the other side. It is a beautiful gun, and it is being given away from the Glock store, potentially to you. You have to register. You have to enter at the event. Election Night Watch Party officially opens up at 5 p.m. on election night at the James Ward Ag Center at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. Thank you to the Glock store. And for more info, go to glockstore.com or shoot270.com. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here. Did you know you're funding America's future? And sometimes it's not quite the future that you want for yourself or for your children. Many major credit card companies funnel millions of dollars to liberal causes and candidates, and they hope that you don't notice. Take a stand and get the woke out of your wallet. Coin is the conservative's credit card. You earn cash back while advancing a conservative future and a conservative agenda. Apply now at coin.com. That's spelling COIGN.com. That's coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Coin.
A Metro police officer dodges bullets after he sees a man chasing a woman threatening to kill her. We'll tell you about it at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, so all afternoon long we're playing a game that was devised by Bell K, in which we have spooky or Halloween-y or scary type movies and their theme songs, and I have to guess what they are.
Excellent.
Is that right?
Yes. If you don't get this one, I don't know you.
I'm already going to be horrible at this.
Come on.
I know it. I mean, I know it. I know it.
You know it. You know it, Brother Murphy.
I know it. Can I get a lifeline? Do I get a lifeline at all?
Give you a hint.
Yeah, give me a hint.
Linda.
Oh, The Exorcist.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Way to go, Brother Murphy.
Woo! Okay. Ken Weaver can join in. Y'all can join in too. 615-737-9986. Man, oh man. The Exorcist was a movie that I thought I heard about before I saw, and everybody said, oh my goodness, this scene, or oh my goodness, that scene. And you have to see the unedited version, which is a very difficult watch. But you cannot, it did not disappoint. Let's put it that way. If you care at all about scary movies, the crab walk down the stairs, oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, and now everybody does the crab walk.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Every movie about demons has a demon crab walking up in a corner, or on top of a wardrobe or something like that.
I mean, but that thing, I don't think when The Exorcist came out, and I wasn't, that cognizant or aware, I don't even know that I was around during that time.
I think it was 74.
Okay, so
Something
I was
like
a
that.
year old. Nobody had ever seen anything like that, boy. That was something different entirely.
I didn't see it until later. My parents, they were not going to let me watch that.
No, just give you the heebie-jeebie. I can't even describe some of the scenes that I'm thinking about. I can't describe on the radio because they're too graphic to even describe.
Yeah.
December 26th of 73.
70. No,
So you were what,
Wow.
4 months old, 3 months old?
Yeah, 3 months old.
I was 5. I was 5 years old.
Oh, well, I can't imagine why they wouldn't let you into the theater to see that one, Ken.
I know.
Come on now.
But they did let me watch Smokey and the Bandit.
I watched the 40th anniversary, Ken, of Smokey and the Bandit in the theater. They brought it back in Beham, Alabama. It was on various theaters, and one of my favorite movies of all time is Smokey and the Bandit.
Man.
I'm gonna call you Frog because you're always hopping around like a frog. Besides, I kind of like to jump you.
Dude, that scene where Jackie Gleason stops in that bar to get a cup of coffee and a burger.
I want a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper, and make it to go because I'm in a bleep bleep hurry. I've been pursuing this madman for 600 miles. He's so good, and he made it. There was no language about a Diablo sandwich in that movie.
No.
That was all spontaneous from Jackie Gleason.
Yes.
So good.
I didn't know it at the time, but yeah. I mean, he was a genius.
Oh, it's so good. There is no way that you came from my loins. When we get home, I'm going to punch your mama right in the mouth. He decided there's no way he's his kid. That's so good.
I loved it. My mom was, she was not happy with Dad for taking us to see that.
No, I bet not.
She, we went and saw it at a drive-in theater, man. And I mean, I was young, and I don't even know if my little brother was around at the time. But boy, the language, my mom wasn't having any of it. But, we sat through it.
It was all good. All good. They did not know on the budget that they had for Smokey and the Bandit if they could convince Burt Reynolds to do the role. Do you know who was going to do the Bandit?
No.
Jerry Reed.
Jerry Reed?
Yeah.
I like Jerry where he was.
I like Jerry a lot where he was. I mean, obviously, none of the stuff would have worked if it were any other way than what it was.
Had to have Burt Reynolds.
But yeah, Jerry Reed was going to do the role of the band. Fred is the star of the show, in my opinion.
Oh, yes.
When he gets out of the truck and goes for a dip, he has to wade in halfway to get it. Come on, Fred. We're on a schedule. So good. All right, it's 12:30, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and I promise we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the show coming up in just a moment. We'll talk about the garbage truck event. We'll talk about where we are and how you feel. We'll get to Mr. Jimmy out of Shelbyville, who is back from surgery.
Yes,
That is
sir.
great news.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Jimmy will talk to you next, plus Olivia as well. It's 30 after the hour on Super Talk.
$12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. I'm watching that rain on the radar headed this way. We've got the timeline during the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, a man accused of shooting at a police officer is in custody. 66-year-old John Carney allegedly fired toward a South Precinct officer who was responding to a domestic dispute around 2:30 this morning Officer Dylan Mercado, a 2-year MNPD veteran, saw Carney chasing a woman, yelling he was going to kill her. And when Officer Mercado got to the woman, he says he heard a gunshot. Carney was ordered to drop his weapon. He did, but then he ran away into some woods. Well, they got him anyway, booked him on a domestic assault, aggravated assault on an officer charge, and a canine found the gun Carney allegedly had. It was a 9mm. Money news. A lot of Americans say rising prices are top issue this election. Now an inflation gauge closely watched by the Fed has fallen to its lowest level since 2021. Doesn't mean prices are going down. They're still going up.
Consumer prices rose just 2.1% in September from a year ago, just slightly above the 2% target that the Federal Reserve had set to try to get the economy back on track after pandemic price hikes. The Commerce Department also reporting consumer spending jumped 0.5% from August to September. That helped the overall economy grow during the third quarter.
Yeah, Bankrate says prices are still 21.4% more expensive since February 2020. And economists were anticipating a jump in weekly jobless filings to close out October. Instead, says Jim Ryan, that number fell another 12,000 in the week ending October 26th.
In the first half of October, Hurricanes Helene and Milton disrupted economic activity from Florida through the Carolinas. Storm recovery is still going on, but the economy has largely shaken off the impact, driving weekly jobless filings down to 216,000. On Friday, the Labor Department will publish October's big picture employment report.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy, and if you're in pain, I understand the feeling because I've been there with you, whether it's back pain or neck pain, knee pain, hip pain. As you get older, you get those mystery pains in your life, and you don't know what to do with them. If you're tired of living in pain, if you're feeling like no one's really listening to you, you do have choices when it comes to your care at the Dr. Gill Center. For back, neck, and chronic pain relief, they do things differently. They take the time to listen, to understand, and create personalized solutions just for you. Ask yourself this question: what would you do if you were pain-free? How would you live your life differently? Probably significantly differently. Well, I know I did. I was worried that I would have to stop golfing and I would have to do some of the stop doing the outdoor activities that I've enjoyed doing all of my life. Well, take it from me. I don't just talk about these guys on the radio. I am a client of Dr. Gill's, and they've gotten me back to life again, and they can do the same for you. Call 615-882-4838 for more information. That's 615-882-4838, or go to callmepainfree.com. That's the website. Just all one word, right? Callmepainfree.com, and work together to make your pain-free life a reality with the Dr. Gill Center. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. 38 minutes after, almost 38 after. Matt Murphy and you.
Old.
This is the Halloween version of the Matt Murphy Show. The version where Bel K plays old school movie soundtracks, and Matt Murphy has to figure out which ones they are. Old?
Very.
Keep going. Turn it up a little. Oh, that'll get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll
I
tip
know
the
it
scale.
now. That tipped the scale. That's it. That's all I get.
That's all you get, man. You should know that one, and you should be.
Can you re-rack it?
You should be embarrassed if you can't remember what it is.
All right, re-rack it. You're going old school?
That's old school.
Really old.
Whew, that's old school. But I don't know what it is either.
Ray says you could play Taylor Swift songs. That'd scare us all to death. That's true. All right, Frankenstein.
Yes. The original Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, released in 1931.
Really?
Yes.
So I got that right.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. Andy got that right on the super text line. Thank you, Andy. Way to go, Andy. See, a lesser host would have taken credit for that, Andy, but I'm no lesser host. I'm your Huckleberry. Thank you. Frankenstein, that's pretty good. The audience has my back. 615-737-9986. Speaking of having someone's back, we've been talking about Mr. Jimmy. We had him scheduled for a pacemaker surgery on this day, Halloween, and I told Mr. Jimmy I didn't want him going as a ghost on Halloween, and he is calling us fresh from surgery. Mr. Jimmy, how you doing, sir? Hey, Mr. Jimmy. Mr. Jimmy. Uh-oh. I don't know if we got him there or not. You all right, Mr. Jimmy? I can hear him. I don't think he can hear me. Bell, pick up on line 2 for Mr. Jimmy and make sure that he's okay, because I don't think he can hear me for some reason. Olivia is in Carthage next. Hey, Olivia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for taking my call.
Well, thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to call as another garbage conservative on the line.
I absolutely love it. You got your garbage bag on today or not?
Yeah, I would much rather be garbage than a godless community of people. If you think that going to church on Sunday or raising your kids with traditional values and morals and believing marriage is between a man and a woman and not wanting tampons in the boys' bathroom, if these things make you garbage, then, honey, you throw me in the back and call me trash.
That's amen. I mean, if these are the things, and you know what? It's right along my way of thinking, Olivia, and I appreciate you calling, and I love that you're thinking that way. If you think that believing in this country is garbage, well, then I'm garbage. If you think that believing that America should come first in all of our decisions with regard to our government, Americans should come first in all of our decisions regarding government, then I'm garbage. If you think believing in the political sovereignty of the United States of America to the point that we believe in our southern border security, then I'm garbage. If it's garbage to believe in independent energy production here at home, then I'm garbage. If it's garbage to believe in fracking, I'm garbage. If it's garbage to believe in advancing offshore drilling for the purpose of making us further independent of our foreign adversaries for oil, then I'm garbage. If you believe the climate change crisis is being used by Democrats against capitalism, generally free enterprise, and conservatives more specifically, then I'm garbage. If you believe that our inflation rates are too high and that has been caused and exacerbated by the federal government itself, then I'm garbage. If you believe in Israel and believe in America's interest in defending Israel and helping Israel defend itself and believing in the Jewish state and the ability for them to defend themselves, then I'm garbage. Garbage votes in this election. And no, it wasn't a slip of the tongue. Yes, he meant what he said. Yes, they believe what Joe Biden said. Kamala Harris would say it if she had any guts. If she was authentic, she would tell us the truth about how she believes with regard to Trump supporters. They sat there at the White House yesterday, Karine Jean-Pierre, who purportedly speaks for the President of the United States of America, and that guy still, believe it or not, is Joe Biden, and she said he didn't say it. Oh, he wasn't talking about Trump supporters. We heard it. It's on video, lady. What are you talking about? Oh, well, he meant something different. And then there's CBS News, which I'll get to in just a moment. Whoever this O'Donnell chick is on CBS News, I forget her name, Nora O'Donnell, Christine O'Donnell. I think is it Nora O'Donnell? Thank you, Ken Weaver. Nora O'Donnell on CBS News said that it was a shame, or implied that it was a shame, and I'll play the audio momentarily. It was a shame that the Trump team did not give Joe Biden grace over his gaffe. Grace? Grace? What in the hell are you people talking about? You compared the Madison Square Garden rally based solely on location to a Nazi rally. You've called Donald Trump a fascist. You've compared him to Adolf Hitler. What are you talking about, grace? You didn't give Donald Trump grace when he almost had his brains blown out. And now we're supposed to be the bigger people? We're supposed to give Joe Biden a little bit of grace? To hell with that. It was Joe Biden who turned, what was it, Dark Biden or Dark Joe or whatever they called him. Remember that little rally in Philadelphia that he had where it was all red and he was all angry and he was talking about how MAGA this and MAGA that? That's when they thought going after Trump supporters was the way to go. I mean, I can play you clip after clip of him basically explaining to you that, I mean, what about Joe Biden? If you vote for him, you ain't black. Are we supposed to give grace to you for that? Grace? No. No, you're not getting any grace. Now, Bel K just told me that he checked in with Mr. Jimmy, who's had a long day already, I'm sure. Mr. Jimmy, for those who don't know, he is a great listener. He's a fine part of the team at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That's what I consider him. He is a character in and of himself. I went and visited him in Shelbyville. He's had a surgical procedure today. They put in a new pacemaker for him. And you said you went to him and he was snoring?
He was snoring, which I admit.
I get it.
Did not even surprise me, because if he's been through that already today and he's been loaded up with anesthetics and all that, he's probably wiped.
Did you ever get him to respond?
No, he was just cutting logs.
All right, I'm going to try him one more time. Mr. Jimmy. He's sleeping. Mr. Jimmy's
He's out
asleep.
cold.
Maybe
we let him rest.
Mr. Jimmy's asleep.
Hope his phone doesn't die.
Hey, Mr. Jimmy.
Yeah, Mr. Jimmy's asleep.
Jimmy is sawing logs.
Well, Mr. Jimmy, we're just going to let him. We'll check in with him from time to time, see how long that phone lasts. Mr. Jimmy's got his phone up to his face, and he has fallen asleep at his home in Shelbyville, Tennessee. That's very good. 46 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ben writes in and says, Grace, she died 30 years ago. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, yeah, you'll get some grace when you give some grace. When's the last time the mainstream media gave Donald Trump any grace? When's the last time they put context to his comments? When's the last time they told you, now, hold on a second, he wasn't talking about the Nazis or the Klan members when he referred to good people on both sides. He was talking about historical preservationists and the sons of the Confederate veterans and the like. When's the last time you heard that? When's the last time you heard a mainstream media network that didn't have Fox in front of their name? Maybe Newsmax and News Nation too, although I don't watch those quite as often. When's the last time you heard a mainstream media network correct someone that said something inappropriate about Donald Trump? No, they always let it go. Grace? No, we've got 5 days to go. There is no grace. This is war. This is a battle. And I don't mind using the language. It is a battle for the soul of what we want America to be. Do we want America to be a nation that doesn't believe in borders? Do we want a nation that believes in giving up our sovereignty? What have we seen around the world that would indicate to us how that's going to go for us? Have you seen what's going on in England lately? They're about 10, 15 years ahead of us in terms of immigration practices in their country. And let's see what that has gotten them. I mean, already they're behind the eight ball when it comes to free speech rights, behind the eight ball when it comes to Second Amendment rights. Thank God we have our Bill of Rights in this country to protect those rights. Otherwise, the liberals would have already gone after them. If they have the ability, they'll take away your Second Amendment rights, regardless of what they say. Don't listen to what they say during a political campaign. Listen to what they say and watch what they do when they're not campaigning. It reminds me of an old joke. I think it was my grandpa that originally told me this joke. A politician dies. And he meets St. Peter at the pearly gates. And St. Peter said, hello to him. And he goes, oh, my goodness, it's good to see you. Oh, I love being at the pearly gates. That's great. I was a little worried about, which direction I was going. And St. Peter says, yeah, a lot of people worry about that. But believe it or not, we do it a little bit differently around here than you people on earth think we do. And the politician said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, the way that we do it is you're going to spend a day in heaven and you're going to spend a day in hell. And then you get to pick. And he's like, what? What are you talking about, pick? And he goes, no, that's the way we do it. That's the way we've always done it. And the politician says, well, I can go ahead and tell you, I'm going to pick heaven. He goes, no. You just have to go through the process like everyone else. And he says, okay. And so the pearly gates open, and for the next day, he spends it in heaven, surrounded by angels and harps and clouds and, everything you think that heaven would be. And St. Peter says, okay, now's the time for you to go down to hell. And he goes, I'm telling you, I'm going to pick heaven. He goes, no, you got to do it. And he goes down the old proverbial escalator, and the doors open. And lo and behold, it is weird, but it's like a country club. The doors open up, and there's a party going on. They're all of his friends. They're drinking. They're having a good time. They're outside playing golf. There's a big spread. Everybody's having a wonderful time down there in hell. And the politician can't believe it. And he just has the time of his life. Meets all of his old buddies who had passed before him. And it was a big time. And the day ends, and he goes back to St. Peter. And St. Peter says, okay, it's time for you to choose. And the politician says, St. Peter, I can't believe I'm about to say this. But, heaven's nice, and it's wonderful, and it's peaceful. But I think I preferred hell. I think I want to go down there with all of my friends. And St. Peter says, okay, you've selected. And boom, immediately he's back in hell. But this time it's different. This time it's fire and it's brimstone and it's raining fire and there's ashes, and all of those friends who were at the country club the day before, they're got the shovels and they're shoveling the ashes and they're working and they're in the lake of fire. And the politician looks at old Beelzebub and says, what? Hold on a second. What happened? What happened to the country club? What happened to the golf course? What happened to the drinks? And the devil says, oh, that. He said, yesterday we were campaigning. Today you voted. Pay attention to what these politicians do, not what they say when they want your vote. Because believe it or not, I know it's going to shock you. Politician, they'll lie to you. They'll lie to you. It's 51 after the hour on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Let's talk for a moment about Men of Valor. Did you know, this is an incredible statistic that I learned from Men of Valor, that 90% of men in prison will get out. That's right, 90% of the men that we see going into prison for whatever their crime, they'll get out of prison at some point in their lives. And around 50% of those, sadly, will return within 3 years unless we do something to disciple to these men, unless we give them hope for a better future. That's where Men of Valor comes in. I love the people of Men of Valor. Raul and the rest of his team are so good at ministering to men, and they put the people in the places where they need them in the prison system itself. That partnership is so vital to creating men within the system that understand their past crimes and understand to lead a productive life, a life of happiness and joy. They need to get God in their lives, and that's exactly what Men of Valor does for them. They disciple, and they offer discipline, and they offer hope. And that's what it's all about. But they need partners like you. Men of Valor needs volunteers in the prison systems at their campus for their after care reentry service program. They need job partners and Bible study teachers. Is that you? Let's find out together. Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com for Men of Valor.
Thousands of North Korean troops seen near Ukraine's border. We'll tell you about it at 1 on Super Talk 997 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. That is Halloween.
Well, think about it.
John Carpenter loved doing his own theme music.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And he's good at it.
And he's really good at it.
I think he did the theme for The Thing, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I could
he
be
did.
wrong.
He
but
did. He does that. Christine, I think, has music from John Carpenter. John Carpenter's Christine, based on the Stephen King novel. Ken Weaver, Bell K, Matt Murphy. It's a Halloween edition of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk. Would you guys, I mean, is Halloween not the standard? Is it not the gold standard?
I think it has to be at this point.
It is for my wife. We have to watch that tonight after we get finished eating.
What about that T-shirt that Ken Weaver's got on? How about that?
Friday 13th.
Uh-huh.
Crystal Lake. Camp Crystal Lake.
Ken Weaver and I are brothers from another mother today with regard to our attire selections. Have I shown my T-shirt off yet on Super Talk TV?
Need
No,
to do that.
you have not.
Yeah,
Need to do that.
Here it is. Here you go. Here's a little look.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's the Jason Voorhees mask, and it says "No Lives Matter."
Yeah.
I was wearing the Trump hat in the garbage bag, and New Suit said, "Oh, that's great." I showed him my No Lives Matter shirt, and he goes, "Yeah, keep that covered up. I don't need all those discussions." I got this one back in 2020 during the Summer of Love. No Lives Matter. Get it? See, get it? Because Jason kills you. He doesn't care. Y'all get it, right? He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
Here's his mama during the first one. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I hope you saw it.
I like how Jason Voorhees went from being about 5'8" and 150 pounds to about 6'11", 350.
No,
he
you're
turned
right.
into a big dude.
Didn't they shoot him in space at some point? Was it Jason Voorhees at one point in space? I
That
think
was
that's
Friday
correct.
the 10th, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my goodness! The final chapter, the final chapter.
The only one that ever stayed the same was Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger, he just stayed, just kind of a wiry fella.
Burn up with his glove with his razor sharp talons on it.
A little quick wit before he sliced somebody.
But Michael Myers, I mean, what a perfect manifestation of evil, though.
Yeah, he got big too.
Oh yeah.
Real big.
I didn't like the second version, the Rob Zombie. I didn't like that.
No, I the first one was okay, but Rob Zombie's second one, I can pass on.
No, yeah, I'm no. Well, maybe we'll talk a little more about that in the 2 o'clock hour. Right now, we've got news to do, and I know that Mr. Jimmy's still there. We'll check in with Mr. Jimmy after the news. We got Brylan Hollyhand coming on. He's going to stop by and see what's going on in our world as well. As we continue Super Talk 99.7 WTN, it's the Matt Murphy Show. Nora O'Donnell on CBS News opened the CBS News last night, upset about Donald Trump's garbage truck stunt and upset that no one is giving Joe Biden any grace for calling Trump supporters garbage. I'll play you the clip coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
One o'clock on the dot this Halloween. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. I'm watching rain on radar heading this way. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. This just in from the Associated Press. The U.S. Deputy Ambassador to the UN says about 8,000 North Korean troops are in Russia's Kursk region, right near Ukraine's border. Meanwhile, a North Korean intercontinental ballistic missile was launched this morning, the country's longest mission yet, leaving many worried North Korea could be building up its arsenal after recently sending troops to the Russian front, says Louis Martinez.
That kind of highlights the growing nature of that conflict and also raises questions about what North Korea could get in return for sending these troops to fight the Ukraine. And one of the concerns is that Russia may improve North Korea's technology when it comes to ICBM launches, as well as to its nuclear capabilities.
Election 2024, if you plan to cast your vote before Election Day, today is it, your last day to do early voting. For those who choose to vote on Election Day in Tennessee, all major bus systems in the state offering free rides to the polls. In Davidson County, all WeGo routes are free on Election Day. Same goes for Franklin Transit Authority, Clarksville Transit System. Uber and Lyft both have 50% fares on Election Day for rides to polling sites. Is your phone being bombed with texts asking for donations for political candidates? Well, the Better Business Bureau says some of those texts may be scams.
If they start to ask for information like your date of birth or your social security number, you can be pretty sure that is a scam and you do not want to engage with those people.
Best way to contribute to your favorite candidates, according to the BBB, go directly to their website. Well, the Commerce Department reporting a key inflation gauge has fallen to near pre-pandemic levels. Consumer prices up just 2.1% in September from a year earlier, barely above the Fed's 2% target. The Fed will use that as part of its decision on lowering interest rates at its meeting next week. Jared Bernstein, chair of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, says they know there's still work to do in bringing down everyday costs for Americans.
A lot of people say they don't feel it. And that has a lot to do with costs, with how much prices have gone up. So a key part of our agenda as we run through the tape at the end of this, yes, I've given you a lot of positive news, but there's no victory laps here, is to keep costs down.
Yeah, Bankrate says prices are still 21.4% more expensive since February 2020. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
So the weather's changing, and as is the case every year this time of year in Tennessee, you get the hot afternoons and the cool mornings, and what do? You turn the AC on in the afternoon, and before you know it, you need the heater on in the morning. That strains your system. Who do you call if you have an issue? I have a name. His name is Jeff Eddy, and his company is Efficient Heating and Cooling. Efficient Heating and Cooling understands that it's a difficult and sometimes overwhelming decision to make the decision to either repair or replace your system. Jeff Eddy and his crew will walk you through the ins and outs. They will tell you exactly what's going on with your current heating system and what it will take to repair it, how long you expect it to last, and what it will cost you to replace that system. They have many options available because they are, in fact, an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. He keeps his overhead low, as always. He passes those savings on to you. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling of Tennessee, the best value around on tune-ups, maintenance calls at residences, never over $125 with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Call them today, or better yet, look them up online at efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net, or make the call that so many others have made. 615-784-4424. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Efficient Heating and Cooling. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hour number 2 starts right now. Some cleanup from hour number 1, and then we'll get to our guest, Brylan Hollyhand, who is author of the book One Generation Away. What a fine young man he is. He's also the editor-in-chief of the Truth Gazette. We'll get his feeling, his take on where we are 5 days out before the election culminates on Tuesday, November 5th. I'm trying to say that in a different way because I know many of you have early voted. Today is the last day for early voting today. And I believe that my polling place, and Ken Weaver, fact-check me on this. I know that it might be different from place to place, but I think my polling place was closing at 6 for early voting.
Where you vote? You vote in Wilson County?
Charlie Daniels Park in Wilson County.
Yeah, every county's different.
Oh, there you go. Then
Yeah,
that's what the deal is.
Every county's different. In Davidson County, they're going to close tonight at 7.
Okay.
And I can look up Wilson County early voting right now.
I'm betting it's 6 o'clock. I don't know, but they might have changed it. Based on the lines, man, a lot of people voting early, and I like to see it. A lot of women voting early, like to see that as well, especially considering some of the numbers we've got coming back. And love to see some of these polls. Now, I don't know whether to believe the polls or not, but the polls are razor thin. What I try to do.
6 p.m., Brother Murphy.
Thank you there, Ken Weaver, Wilson County, 6 o'clock. But check your local polling place because it's different from place to place.
Yes, sir.
So early voting is done today, though, and you've got the Friday and the weekend off, and then you can get back in there on Tuesday if you choose to vote on the actual election day. But I'll go over some of the polling numbers that I'm seeing the last 48 hours. I am excited, not because Donald Trump has a razor. I mean, these margins are razor thin, and we have to go into this assuming that some of the pollsters have corrected their errors from 4 years ago. But if you compare apples to apples, meaning if you compare the same polls from 4 years ago to polls today, Donald Trump is exceeding what he got in those polls by a lot. In other words, you compare Donald Trump against Joe Biden in 2020 in Pennsylvania, for example, to Donald Trump against Kamala Harris in 2024 in Pennsylvania, and Donald Trump picks up 6 points on himself, right? He's 6 points better than he was then in Pennsylvania. And in Michigan, he's 4 points better. And in Georgia, he's 5 points better. And in all of these battleground states, you're seeing a 4 to 6 point margin better than he was 4 years ago. That is more telling to me than the razor-thin margin that we're seeing in 2024 if you compare Trump to Harris. It is a better, in my estimation, it's a better way of trying to figure out what's going on, looking at Trump in 2016, Trump in 2020, and then Trump in 2024, because I don't believe they're going to get the voter enthusiasm that they got in 2020 because they had so much vote harvesting going on in 2020. All that to say, we'll get to Brylan coming up in just a second. Mr. Jimmy update. I know many of you are worried about Mr. Jimmy, loyal listener to the Matt Murphy Show and a frequent caller to the show. He had a pacemaker procedure being put in today, and he is asleep. He called us to tell us that he's okay, and we went to his call, and we heard snoring, and Belle is checking in with him from time to time, and we hear snoring, which is good. Because that means that Mr. Jimmy's getting some rest. But he's still on the line. We'll check back with him from time to time and let you know what we hear. Real quick, and I know Brylan's holding, I promise to play this, and I will. This just wears me out, and perhaps our next guest, Brylan Hollyhand, will have a thought on it. This is Norah O'Donnell, anchor for the CBS Evening News. So the setup is this. Joe Biden allows the truth to get into the way of the campaign when he says that Trump supporters are garbage. And that's what he said. We've heard it. Norah O'Donnell, in a desperate attempt to defend Joe Biden and by extension Kamala Harris, opened the CBS Evening News in this way last night.
We are now 6 days out from Election Day. Nearly 60 million votes have already been cast in early in-person voting and through the mail. And the latest polls suggest the race could not be tighter. Both campaigns are locking their focus on the battleground states. Vice President Kamala Harris rallied in North Carolina and Pennsylvania today and is in Wisconsin tonight. Former President Donald Trump was in North Carolina earlier and tonight is also in Wisconsin. He landed in Green Bay just a short time ago and then pulled this campaign stunt, speaking to reporters from a garbage truck, proof that he and his supporters are giving no grace to a gaffe by President Biden, where he, in his explanation, inadvertently called Trump supporters garbage.
So I don't believe it was inadvertent. I heard it. We all heard it. Notice that they didn't play the clip. They choose not to play the clip because when you hear the clip for yourself, you hear clearly what Joe Biden was trying to say. Also, I love this idea of the insinuation by Norah O'Donnell and others in the mainstream media that Donald Trump is expected to give them any grace. Were they giving Donald Trump any grace when they compared him to a Nazi? Were they giving Donald Trump any grace when they called him Adolf Hitler? Were they giving Donald Trump and his supporters any grace whatsoever when they told us that there's a threat to democracy going on and if you vote for him, you ain't black and that kind of stuff? Nonsense. To speak to all of this, we welcome back to the show author of the book, One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom. He is Brylan Hollyhand. He is also the editor-in-chief of the Truth Gazette, and it's good to hear from him on the Murphy Show hotline. Brylan, how are you, sir?
Matt, happy Thursday. Thanks for having me back. It's an honor. I had to come celebrate the last day of early voting in your state. So
well, I do appreciate that you're doing that. Tell us what you've been doing with yourself. I mean, we had you in studio some months ago. You had the big book out, One Generation Away. I'm sure everything's going well for you over the course of the summer into the fall.
It has been amazing. I think it's all good luck from going on your show as the first radio show of my tour. I did a book tour after I met with you, and then I just started a campus tour that I finished last night. I've been to 8 college campuses in 4 weeks, and it's been really fun to get to talk to voters. And the same message I'm hearing from Gen Z is the same thing that you're talking about. We are frustrated. We're fed up. We can't afford to buy a home. We can't afford to fill our gas tanks up. We can't afford to start a family. Regardless of if you love Donald Trump's personalities, we like his policy, and we want him back in office.
One of the reasons I love talking with you, Brylan, and why I think you are such an important voice in this movement in the United States of America is because you do have, somewhat of a better understanding as to the younger generation, the 19, the 20-year-old, the 21-year-old, the 22-year-old. And I would like to pretend that I have my thumb on that generation's thoughts and feelings and the way they talk amongst themselves. I don't. You do. Obviously, it is natural to suggest that a 20-something might break with what I would consider the nonsense coming out of the Kamala Harris camp. But, I mean, what are you seeing when you're on the ground, when you're talking to folks of that generation? Are you seeing more of a break away from Harris and Biden toward Trump? Or just tell me what you see.
Yeah, well, let me tell you a fun little story just from last night. I spoke at Auburn last night at the last stop of the tour, and I had somebody come up after the speech and say, listen, I was a Kamala Harris supporter since she got in the race. Taylor Swift's endorsement really convinced me that this needs to be somebody that's going to protect my body, the whole freedom argument. She was really sold. And then she saw how angry the campaign got after the convention. She said the past few weeks of people calling your party fascist and Nazis and Hitler, and now, 2 nights ago, Joe Biden, not inadvertently, actually calling us garbage, stuff like that is turning her off. She said, I don't love every single thing you support. I don't love every single thing Donald Trump says. But again, I like his policies, and I'm going to break a generational, fixation within my own family of voting for Democrats and actually vote Republican this time. And I said, thank you for doing that. Thank you for actually stepping out. I think that reflects a broader shift in Gen Z that a lot of people are waking up. A lot of people don't like being called garbage. And I think those garbage people are going to be voting on Tuesday.
You reminded me in your appearance in studio, Brylan, and you remind me again today that, those of us in my generation, I'm 51, right? But even, the 40-something-year-olds, we do a disservice to a lot of younger Americans by dismissing them as, skulls of mush or woke or, this generation doesn't get it. I feel like there is, if you want to talk about being woke, I think there's an awakening that's happening that has nothing to do with being woke. And I see a lot of younger people coming around to the idea that, they want a job for themselves. They want to create a family for themselves. They want an America that they know about from stories that they hear from their parents or their grandparents. And they don't buy into this government-dependent nonsense coming out of the mouths of Democrats nowadays, in my estimation. Am I right?
You're exactly right, Matt. I mean, today is Halloween, and we all know the famous Reagan quote that freedom is one generation away from extinction. But there's another famous Reagan quote that kind of goes with this holiday, that the 5 scariest words in the English language are "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Gen Z realizes that. Gen Z has been a lot more awake than we are woke. And if you want to talk about woke, it's really the teachers. They're actually activists, just in teachers' clothing, who have been shoving this woke nonsense down our throat. We're waking up to the fact of this, and I think a lot of people are going to be voting as a result of that. Regardless of who wins the youth vote, I think it'll be Trump, but I think regardless, we're going to see the highest youth voter turnout in American history, because my generation went through COVID. My generation saw what happens, and our voice is taken away. We were shut out of school for a year and a half. They strapped that diaper to our face and told us we couldn't go visit our granny for Thanksgiving dinner, but we could go to the strip club, Matt. Stuff like that is really waking us up to say, oh, this nonsense is nonsense, and we need to vote against it.
Now, I understand that you talk to a lot of good young people that have they're clear thinkers. They have their minds right with regard to what is best for them and their families. I imagine you see the other side of that on college campuses and in your circles, and when you go to these various towns quite a bit as well. What do you hear from the opposition? What is their message 5 days before Election Day, and how do you speak to them? I'm certain, Brylan, that you encounter these folks all the time when you're on the campus.
That is such a great assessment, Matt, because I encountered them just last night. We had a few protesters, and I was interested in the question that you just asked. I wanted to know what their message was 5 days out from Election Day. Like, why are you here? Why are you screaming in the middle of my speech? Let's have a conversation. But they don't do that. They just stand up and scream until they say their piece, grab their flag, and walk out the back door with their blue hair and nose rings and bullhorn, and that's it. They don't want to sit and talk. They don't want to have a conversation. But what I think is important to note, and it's something that you touched on earlier, is that this minority of people that go out and protest on college campuses, that shut down Yale or stand up in the middle of my campus speech on an SEC tour, that represents exactly what I said, a minority. They call us the silent majority as Republicans. I think that's the loud minority of college students. They get all the airtime, they get the attention, they make this example of Gen Z with a bad look, but the media ignores the thousands of other college students that don't dye their hair blue, that don't get nose rings, that don't go on a bullhorn or shut down a campus, and are just going on with normal class schedules. So I think when you look at polling, you're like, oh my goodness, Gen Z's moving conservative. Actually, we've always been conservative. We're just a little bit more quiet about it, and we don't, tattoo ourselves with it.
Fearless predictions for election night, Brylan. Will we know, let's say, I'll give you till November 6th. Do you think we'll know the day after the election what the results are?
I think we'll have a lot better idea the day after the election than we did last time, but I don't think we'll know a winner the day after. I think it'll be 2 to 3 days. I think we're moving more into a conversation of not if Donald Trump will win battleground states, but how many will he win, and how many non-battleground states will he actually pick up and shock people. But I do want to make this point for your audience today, and I know it's the last day of early voting, that's why I'm trying to really get this message in. Do not get cocky. Cockiness is a cancer. Cockiness is how we lose elections. When you get cocky and you say, oh, the polls are looking great, the other people won't want to get out and vote. All of us right now have to tell ourselves that. Go tell your friends that. Go tell your peers that. Don't think you have this election in the bag. Everybody has to get out and vote, whether it's tonight before 6 o'clock or Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You have to get out and cast your ballot, because the polls do not actually reflect what's going to be coming out on Election Day. That's up to every one of you.
What is your message that you send, particularly to younger voters? Because I have so many of them listening to our show right now, Brylan. Yeah. What have you been talking about on campus about why Trump is the superior selection over Kamala Harris for their future and for their individual, for their dreams and aspirations? Why is Trump the choice?
You know what's sad, Matt? I've done this campus tour for 8 campuses in 4 weeks, and everybody doesn't have hope. It doesn't matter which campus I'm on. It doesn't matter what part of the country I'm in, southern or northern. Every place I go to, they do not have hope. Because we've been fed this lie, this propaganda from the media that everything's going to be dark and gloomy and you're going to be happy with it. This is just America today. But it doesn't have to be America today. There is hope, and that hope is Donald Trump. The hope is actually electing somebody that can make America great again, not just as a slogan, but as a way of life. The American dream should be attainable for every American. That's how it was for our parents' generation. That's how it was for our grandparents' generation. Donald Trump will make it more affordable to start a family. Donald Trump will make it more affordable to buy a home, to actually start a life living out that American dream. All you have to do is vote for him either tonight before 6 p.m. or Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Brylan, so good to catch up. Come see us the next time you're in Nashville. You know how much I appreciate what you do. I mean, you are the heart and soul of the youth movement in the United States of America with regard to our political movement. I appreciate what you do on the Truth Gazette. I loved your book, One Generation Away. If there's anything else we can do for you, just let us know. How can folks find you online and get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Just look up at Brylan Hollyhand, or you can go to Matt's Twitter, and him and I were just tweeting, so you can find it there.
Brylan, thanks so much, buddy, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate you, Matt. Right. Get out and vote.
All right, take care. There's Brylan Hollyhand. He's a good young man. I think Brylan's, is he 20? I don't even know if he's 20 yet. I mean, he's young. He's 20 or 21 maybe. I don't know that I could have a beer with Brylan. I'll put it that way. But Brylan is a great young voice. Obviously found his voice at a very, very early age and has translated that into speaking to people on college campuses and whatnot in a language that hopefully they can understand. And hopefully that translates to votes come, if not now, then on election day. But get out and vote. You got to bank the vote. Look, I'm more and more convinced that as these are the rules that we have in front of us, we have to take advantage of them. We did not in 2020, and sadly, that in part cost us the election, amongst other things, and we have well talked about those other things. But we're seeing it. We're seeing it in the state of Tennessee. We're seeing it in North Carolina. We're seeing it in Georgia. We're seeing it in Michigan. We're seeing it in Pennsylvania, where more and more Republicans are casting a ballot for their man, Donald J. Trump. Speaking of the man, he was adorned in a safety vest last evening as he took the stage. It's hard for me to say it without laughing a little bit. As he pulls up in a garbage truck, has an impromptu press conference. The mainstream media doesn't know what to do with it, and so they're calling, oh, this is a stunt. This is a prop. This is ridiculous. It was a master class in seizing the moment and making sure, and I'm going to explain why to you in just a moment. It's not about the garbage truck. It's not about the outfit. It's about forcing the media to cover the subject. We'll discuss next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here. USS is on my mind. USS stands for United Structural Systems. Let's discuss what USS can bring to your family and your home in terms of repair of your foundation or solving some of your waterproofing needs. Bottom line is this, folks. If you've got water in your basement or your crawl space, that water's not going to go away on its own. You need someone to come out and diagnose, problem solvers. To come out and diagnose what's going on in that basement or crawl space and figure it out. Now, we have drought-like conditions right now, although we do have some rain in the forecast over the next couple of days. Well, you might have cracks or fissures forming outside of your home, at the base of your home as we speak. That happens when soil dries out and then it compacts and then it gets water on it, and then that water comes in and tries to find the point of least resistance. And that's what creates foundation issues. That's what can create waterproofing issues. USS, they are masters at this. They will come in and figure it out. Plus, concrete leveling available as well. Go to USSTN.com for more information. That's USSTN.com, or give a call to USS. They've served over 25,000 customers in Middle Tennessee, and they can serve you as well. USSTN.com. Here's that telephone number, 615-488-7855, 488-7855. Tell them I sent you to USS.
We'll tell you what's being done to limit loud partying tonight for Halloween in Nashville. Coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, got it. Lost Boys.
I was going to be very embarrassed for you if you didn't get that one.
Lost Boys.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, my goodness.
Get out. Get your keys and get out.
No, you can stay.
Okay.
You easy, Bell. Tell him no.
I'm going to Toots right now.
He left. Ken Weaver, there's a great it's one of the more fabulous final lines. I think, is it Santa Clara? Is that where it's located, Santa Clara? It's Grandpa. I won't ruin the last scene for you.
Okay.
But as the last scene culminates in the death of a vampire, I'll just say that.
Okay.
And then Grandpa, you think Grandpa is oblivious the entire time to what's going on. It's a vampire movie, Ken.
Right.
So you think Grandpa's oblivious the entire time, and Grandpa does something at the end, and he gets out of his truck. And it's everything's calming down, and the bad guys have been killed. And Grandpa goes over to the refrigerator and he gets himself a cold drink and he pops it. And after being oblivious the entire movie, he looks at everybody and goes, "One thing about Santa Clara I never could stomach: all the damn vampires." And then the doors, people, boom, 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 people. It's such a great ending of that movie.
I do need to watch it. My wife has been after me to watch it for years, and
That's
I don't
one
know.
of my
I just
all-time favorite movies.
Oh, Belle, you would have fit right in with the vampires.
Oh yeah,
Brother Bilal might be a vampire.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I have the camera on. I just don't show up.
Look at there. Look what he did. All right. It's 1:30, Super Talk 99.7 WGN. Did you check back in with Mr. Jimmy? He's off the line now, right?
Yeah, he had woken up and he was just tired from the procedure.
Did you tell him to go on to bed?
Yeah, he said the doctor had told him to get some rest. And I said, well, why don't you just go follow doctor's orders and you can give us a ring tomorrow and
good deal.
You just go get yourself feeling better.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad Mr. Jimmy's doing okay after his pacemaker replacement surgery. Fine listener. We need all the ones we can get, particularly great people like Mr. Jimmy. So I'm glad he's doing okay. Glad he's A-okay. Glad that we've got Ken Weaver in the newsroom to update us on headlines on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Watching that rain approaching from the west. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Election 2024.
I voted for Trump, but mostly I voted for America to save us from the one world destruction of all our values, particularly to get our children back.
That's Rudy Giuliani after casting his early voting ballot in West Palm, Florida. Well, it's Halloween, and there will be people partying late into the night and early tomorrow morning, but Airbnb is trying to keep that kind of activity away from its properties in Nashville and across the country. They want to stay in line with its global party ban. Airbnb says the anti-partying tactics they used deterred 200 reservations in Music City last Halloween. About 800 people statewide were blocked from making reservations. The Tennessean says they use software that flags potential risks, such as 1 or 2 day stays at entire homes over the holiday weekend, last-minute bookings, short distances between the guest and the rental property, also potential indicators of partying guests. They were partying in L.A. last night. Now that the Dodgers beat the Yankees for the World Series title, it's time for a celebration in L.A., says Alex Stone.
Early this morning, the Dodgers touched down at LAX aboard the New England Patriots plane straight from New York with their World Series trophy. Now L.A. Mayor Karen Bass announcing 2 events, a victory parade and then a ticketed celebration at Dodger Stadium on Friday.
I am feeling like victory. Victory. This is a wonderful day.
She's asking companies here to allow their employees to work from home on Friday to help alleviate traffic.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here, and I want to talk with you for a moment about you conservatives and what you can do to kind of take your country back. One of the ways you can do that is to make sure that you're spending your money in ways and with companies that believe in the same values that you believe in. And sadly, a lot of major credit card companies are going the way of woke. Not so with Coin. If you know that you're funding America's future in the right way, you spend with more confidence, and I know that you are, and you earn cash back in the process while advancing a conservative future with Coin, the conservatives credit card. Apply now at coin.com. That's COIGN.com, coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details, and don't forget to remind them. Matt Murphy sent you to Coin. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy, and you, along with Belle K behind the glass. Ken Weaver in the newsroom. What did I do to my volume? Let's see. Belle is stumping the chump here with Halloween or scary type of movies, and he just played one that sounds like some sort of screaming hair metal band from the late 1980s.
You're correct. You're on the right track.
And I'm going to guess that the movie that came from, I don't think it was Teen Wolf.
No.
I don't know the film that it came from.
Big franchise.
Big movie franchise, Belkay says. I'm going to say Scream.
No, it was from the biggest of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, which was number 4.
Yeah, it would have been.
And it was the song was called Dream Warriors by Dokken.
Oh, I had the hairband thing,
you absolutely
right?
did.
Yeah.
You sure did.
Sure. I watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and I watched about a 20-minute segment of it the other night. One, Johnny Depp was a baby, absolute baby.
It's just out of the womb.
I watched the scene where he got sucked into his bed and then splattered all over the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of hokey. I don't think it holds up like Halloween holds up, or even like the original Friday the 13th holds up.
Well, even Friday the 13th and Halloween are both they're less paranormal. The paranormal stuff is all on the fringes, whereas Freddy he's in your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't get rid of him.
Well, that's right.
You can do about Freddy Krueger.
That's true. That's what they tell us. Nothing you can do. Well, Donald Trump's kind of Freddy Krueger's to the liberal Democrats. I'll tell you that. Because he's freaking them out. So if you want to know how awesome this was, so Joe Biden comes out and he says, we've played it 100 times on the radio. We could play it 100 more. Trump, the only thing that I hear from his supporters is garbage. They're garbage. He called us garbage. Can't get around it. Can't get away from it. He can say that he misspoke all he wants to, but we know where his heart is. We know, for what it's worth, where his mind is. Kamala Harris comes out and tries to overcome it. Here's the deal, folks. Trump in the dump. I mean, two things. One, the garbage comment gave Donald Trump the photo opportunity of the campaign. We thought it was McDonald's, and after Joe Biden said what he said, the Trump folks said, hold our beer, and we'll give you one even better. And they did when Donald Trump pulled up in the garbage truck outside of his campaign event. The liberal media can't stand it. Do you think for a moment, if Kamala Harris was taking advantage of this moment in this way, that they would characterize it as a prop or a campaign stunt? Of course they wouldn't. They would talk about how she is capitalizing on the movement in the moment, and she shows up in this way to demonstrate that she believes in the hardworking American people of the United States and of Michigan, et cetera, or Wisconsin, I guess it was, outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin, where Donald Trump was. Secondarily, and more importantly, what this has done, it's cost Kamala Harris 36 hours of campaign time. Kamala Harris gave her quote-unquote closing argument outside of the White House on the Ellipse, just off of the Capitol Mall, the National Mall in Washington, D.C., 2 nights ago. Is anyone talking about that? Anyone? Everyone's talking about what Joe Biden said. Everyone's talking about whether or not he mistakenly said it or intentionally said it. Everyone is asking the question, the appropriate question, is this what Joe Biden believes, et cetera? And the mainstream media doesn't know what to do with it. If you want to know how good it was, if you want to truly understand how wonderful the moment was when Donald Trump pulled up in the garbage truck last night, when Donald Trump showed up in the safety vest on stage saying that it looked slim. They told me it looked slimming. I said, I'm all in. I'm all in. It makes me slim down. Little self-deprecating humor there. I know you don't watch this garbage. I wouldn't either. I mean, because it truly is. But I do it so you don't have to. This time, MSNBC. This morning, Joe Scarborough and his lovely, I guess, wife now, former concubine, Mika. Is that not accurate?
I don't know if it's accurate or not, but it's funny as hell.
I don't know. I think that's accurate, right?
I don't care if it's accurate. It's just funny.
His paramour, maybe, is a better description. I mean, both of them were married, and they had a clandestine relationship against the. I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, that's what happened.
I'm not judging. I'm just laughing at it because it was hilarious.
Anyway, Joe has to answer to Mika. I mean, can you imagine what happens when they get home? She goes over the list of the crap he said wrong that day. I mean, my goodness gracious, a kept man indeed. So Joe is a little upset at the efficacy of the campaign event in Wisconsin last evening. Let's listen in.
Ended up calling the press that were there in a hostile environment scum. So there you go. The hypocrisy, Mika, over a misstatement by Joe Biden, which he quickly corrected, is so laughable because this guy does this every day. And then you turn on Fox News and go, oh, how could anybody do this? I've never seen this before from a press. Despite The fact one of the people saying that yesterday on Fox News stood by while Donald Trump watched violence erupt on January the 6th and kept allowing violence to erupt on January the 6th and said the people that were beating the hell out of cops were patriots. So yes. Willie, the gaslighting never ends. They really do think that their voters are that stupid. And
So, I mean, in the midst of condemning the response that Donald Trump didn't bring any of this up. Donald Trump did not bring this to the Democrats. The Democrats brought this on themselves. And Joe Scarborough's response is to say, well, Donald Trump calls the media scum. Not understanding there is a difference in talking about the mainstream media, which there's a lot of scummy people in the mainstream media. I know them. The difference in talking about the mainstream media and talking about the American public. Joe Biden, whether he meant to or not, said that Donald Trump supporters were garbage. I didn't say that. He said that. Donald Trump didn't say that. Donald Trump's responding to that. When Donald Trump calls names, he calls names in very specific ways. I've never heard, and maybe I'm wrong, Bell. Maybe it's out there somewhere. I've never heard Donald Trump talk nasty about the average voter in the United States of America. He talks nasty as hell about the media. He talks nasty about the Democrats. He calls it out when he sees it about the Democrats. He gets it down there to where the goats can graze on it. But Donald Trump is not dumb enough to talk bad about a potential voter in the way that Joe Biden did.
Yeah, I can't remember. If he has done that, no instance pops to mind.
That's right. I mean, maybe he has. I don't know. The bottom line is this, that Joe Scarborough knows what an effective moment that was for Donald Trump. And he just is not willing to say it. And he talks about hypocrisy. There's no hypocrisy in calling out the mainstream media for what they are. And a lot of the mainstream media, they are scumbags. What do I mean by that? Any individual who does the job of a journalist whose basic mission statement is to give the facts and the truth as it exists to the American public and allow the American public to decide for themselves how they're going to consume that, how they're going to respond to it. Anyone that decides that they're going to put the thumb on that scale, that they're going to decide what they cover or what they don't cover based on who it's good for and who it's bad for, that they're going to highlight an event because it's good for this guy and they're going to diminish an event because it's bad for that guy, or vice versa. Those people who spike good news for Donald Trump and highlight bad news for Donald Trump and vice versa for the liberal left, those that choose stories based on who it's going to benefit and who it's not going to benefit, those that selectively take out of context verbiage that Donald Trump has used in order to intentionally deceive the American public. You are a scumbag. There's no other way to put it. And the media can't handle it because Donald Trump calls them out because he doesn't need them in the way that traditional politicians have needed them in the past. He is a master of earned media, and we saw more of that last night. That's earned media. And the brilliance of the maneuver is this. It's not the stunt in and of itself. That's good. That's just delicious, right? Looking at Donald Trump rolling up in a bright white garbage truck with his safety vest on. He gets in, he does a press conference from the garbage truck. The garbage truck is already wrapped with Trump, Make America Great Again signage. If I'm not mistaken, I think I remember this. It had an American flag on it there. The garbage truck rather did. That's all well and good, and that's delicious. But that's not the point. The point is Donald Trump and his team understand what they're dealing with. They have to overcome the bias of the mainstream scumbag press in order to get the real message out to the American people. The American people will not know, those that need to know, that sadly watch CNN for quote-unquote unbiased news, or they watch MSNBC for some reason, or they're watching ABC or CBS or NBC, or listening to the folks over at the Washington Post or reading the folks over at the New York Times. Anyone that's getting their source of media from those quote-unquote legacy ways. They're not going to know what Joe Biden said unless the media tells them. The media had no interest in furthering this story, and the Trump people knew that. The media was going to just spike the story, and the Trump people knew that. Oh, Joe Biden misspoke. There's no reason in bringing that back up because the media understands, unlike the the campaign apparently, or the Biden administration, that you got 6 days to go, man. We are in the home stretch. You better get your message out right now. And her message got covered up completely during her speech by Joe Biden. And the moron that he is in what he said about the American people, or at least half of the American people. By the way, I love how Trump trolled it. Did you hear Joe Biden? He spoke nasty about 250 million Americans. That's just good, right? Because he's suggesting that of the 350 million Americans, 250 million of them are Trump supporters.
What I love about it is we believe we have to take things at face value, and that Kamala was, well, that's not what Joe meant, and I want to be a president for everybody, and blah, blah, blah. But behind the scenes, when they told her what had happened, she was cursing her head off at Joe.
Well, of course she was.
But we don't get to see it, and I wish we could.
Well, because he swarmed over her moment. But I mean, that's one of the delicious parts of this is that she can't be honest. She hasn't been honest from the beginning, and she sure as hell's not going to start now. The brilliance of the move was obviously that it highlights the move itself, and for those of us who love Trump, I mean, it is classic Trumpian behavior.
This is the perfect example of the phrase wet blanket. That's exactly what he did. He wet blanketed her moment.
Well, yeah, Joe did, right. And what Donald Trump did to make sure that the media covered it, you show up in a garbage truck with a safety vest on. Well, if the media is going to cover your speech at all, they have to explain why you're wearing a safety vest. They don't want to. You understand the brilliance of this? They have no interest in revisiting the Joe Biden garbage comment. But in order to explain why Trump's at a rally with a safety vest on, or why Trump's sitting in a garbage truck, they have to explain what Joe Biden said. It makes the media cover the original moment, something that they have no interest in doing. So you're forcing the hand of the mainstream media. They will begrudgingly cover it. They'll call it a gaffe. They'll do what they have to do, but they have to talk about it. And the American people get to hear about it, and it covers the cycle for 36 hours. And that tick-tock time matters because Kamala Harris is behind. Regardless of what they want to tell you, she's behind. Now, how far behind? We're going to cover that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm telling you, it's razor thin. You got to call your friends, relatives, and loved ones in these battleground states if you have any. I will pep you up with a little bit of a pep talk coming up next on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. The Tennessee Men's Clinic has been around since 2014, almost 11 years now, going on at least. Their Midtown location's been here since that time. They opened up a new Franklin location about a year ago to serve the men south of the sound of my voice. Here's the deal, gentlemen. If you're feeling run down, low energy, or if this has manifested itself and affected you in your bedroom activity, I'm not here to get into your business. I'm just here to tell you that Tennessee Men's Clinic can help you. Their qualified urologists are ready and available for you at any point. If you want to schedule an appointment, they're ready and they're willing and they are able to help you get over this hump and put all of this behind you. So if you're not performing as you should, if you're low energy for whatever reason, if it's happening in the gym or maybe outside doing yard work or perhaps more intimate times, it's time to get this handled, men. Let's go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com to find out more. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Or give them a call today at 615-208-9090. 208-9090 for the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
We'll tell you what the nation's top cybersecurity official says about election security coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. Psycho.
Sure you don't want to think about that?
Some of them I know. Some of them I have no idea. This one, I'm fairly confident.
You're right.
What did he use in lieu of blood for the...
Chocolate syrup.
That is very good. That is excellent. That is right on target, too. Black and white film Chocolate Syrup makes an appearance at the shower scene, which was very, very controversial at the time that movie came out.
And it showed nothing.
Shows nothing. But you feel like it shows more than it shows because of the cuts. Not the weak cuts, but the cut shots in the filming.
Well, it's a lady in a shower.
Oh, that's right. And what the most shocking aspect of that, Ken, is that they kill the woman that is supposedly going to be the heroine of the movie. They kill her like within 40 minutes of the movie starting. I mean, she dies real early in the film. Like, well, where the hell are we going now? Then you realize his mama's dead. And, well, anyway, I don't want to spoil it for anybody that's not saying it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Mama's dead. And he crazy.
Mother.
Well, of course, mother. Oh, my goodness. It's 2 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver's got the news right now on Super Talk.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. That rain getting closer and closer. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Election 2024. Pierre Thomas sat down with the nation's top cybersecurity official to discuss election security, expressing full confidence that ballots will be processed safely and securely, particularly in the battleground states.
In the battleground states that will basically decide this election, people are voting on paper. So there's a record. So when there's an issue, they can go back and look at the votes to see exactly how a voter intended to vote, that it's basically an artifact that is there into perpetuity to resolve any questions that might be out there.
Last day for early voting in Tennessee. Here in Nashville, Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts says expect to be in line for longer periods of time, depending on which of the 13 locations you go to.
We've got some very busy locations like Green Hills Library, Hermitage Library.
And remember, on Election Day Tuesday, WeGo will offer free bus rides to the polls. So is Franklin and Clarksville Transit. Voters do not need to present any ID, that is. You just hop on the bus. Lime scooters and e-bikes are going to be free on Election Day with the code VOTE2024. Uber and Lyft will be offering half off for rides to the polls. Early voting just started in Kentucky. You only have 3 days to do it, and there's a time limitation when you do vote. 4 minutes. Election officials say they're going to enforce it. So check out sample ballots online before you early vote in Kentucky. You only have 4 minutes once you step into that poll. A parent has filed a lawsuit against Metro Nashville schools, accusing negligence of her child who has autism and suffered a brain injury while at school. Here's Channel 4's Jordan James.
The lawsuit comes a year after this alleged incident took place at Granbury Elementary, resulting in the 77-year-old student being injured. Now, according to the filings on October 16, 2023, the student came home sick with some knots and bruises on their face. That's when the mother started asking questions to the school. Initially, she was reportedly told that it was due to them banging their head, which is the student is known to do as a result of their condition. Then the mother reached out to the principal, who allegedly told her that he was kicked in the head by another student and did not receive care from a nurse since the incident was not reported by a teacher. These filings led to the mother now filing this lawsuit.
Lawsuit seeking $300,000. And the average rate on a 30-year mortgage in the U.S. rose for the 5th straight week, returning to its highest level since early August. The rate rose to 6.72% from 6.54% last week, according to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, kids. Welcome back. Final hour of the Matt Murphy Show starts right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's almost 7 past 2. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's well. If you're out of doors, be aware there's an oddity approaching Nashville, Tennessee, and all of Middle Tennessee. Some of you are already experiencing it. If you're out of doors, I want to make you aware of something that you don't see very often nowadays. There is water that's going to begin falling from the sky pretty soon. When's the last time we had a good rain?
That doesn't happen. That's superstitious.
I mean, when's the last time we had? I mean, it feels like it, right? I mean, it is dry, friends.
It rained at our house Saturday for a good bit, but I don't think it was widespread rain.
Not like this, man.
It was this one's going to rain for a while.
Yeah, you're looking at that. Are you looking at that line there, Ken Weaver? That line of storms coming in. I mean, not big time thunder boomers or whatnot.
You might hear some thunder, but there's nothing severe in it.
Right now, as my radar shows me, there's a line, Franklin, Kentucky, cutting back to Hohenwald. If you can imagine that line in your head across the state of Tennessee, that's where the line is right now, and it is moving our way. So you youngsters out there, I hope your trick-or-treater outfits are waterproof. That's all I can tell you.
Maybe some folks are going as sharks.
I hope so. Or, I don't know, maybe
piranha.
Or maybe just get you a garbage bag like I did earlier today. Slide that on. That bad boy's waterproof, and there you go.
That's right.
Kevin's on hold listening to this going, this guy's a conspiracy theorist.
Maybe so. Yeah, what, talking about actual rain?
Yeah.
Kevin Sorbo joins us on the show right now. Obviously, Kevin is a star of stage and screen and unapologetic in his support of Donald Trump and conservative values, and we so appreciate his support in Hollywood and beyond. And Kevin joins us on the Matt Murphy hotline right now. Kevin, good afternoon. Welcome in.
Good afternoon. I think a garbage can, a garbage bag is a perfect costume to wear today, and put Trump all over that thing. It's excellent.
I mean, what a gift. I mean, the mainstream media wants to call it some sort of political stunt, but I absolutely love it. I thought the moment of the campaign in 2024 would be Donald Trump serving McDonald's from the drive-thru, Kevin, but I think he topped himself with the garbage truck yesterday.
Well, you know, the left are the gift that keep giving, and they just keep trying to throw stuff out there. They've been attacking him for 10 years. They lie constant, which is amazing to me. I mean, anybody with any ounce of common sense at all, I don't care what side of the party line you're at. I mean, come on, give me a break. There is no comparison between these two candidates, zero. But the only thing that is going to keep her close is something called mail-in voting.
Well, I mean, sadly, it's a reality that they perfected their craft in 2020. I don't know that they'll be able to accomplish their goal in 2024. I guess this goes right to the heart of the matter, Kevin. I know you support Donald Trump as I do. I know you're a conservative and a Christian as I am. The question is, how hopeful are you and how confident are you leading to Tuesday night?
Well, here's the thing. They did it 4 years ago. They did it when Hillary was running, but they didn't realize the sheer number of people that can come out and vote for this guy. And in 2020, he obviously had more votes than he had the first time around. And if you look at Obama, he had a huge drop from the second term compared to the first term in number of votes. He still won, but there was a big difference in the number. With Trump, he went up. But apparently Biden, who hid in his basement the entire time, got more votes. We all know that it's beyond crooked what's going on. Our government is evil. And we got a battle. But I think with everything going out there, even though they're showing some discrepancies already in the swing states, I think there's no possible way someone like Kamala Harris can win this election, because she didn't win one delegate to begin with. She didn't even make it past to Iowa. It's so obvious that even 99% of the Democrats didn't want her as president, but this is what they got. So the mainstream media is going to say whatever they possibly can say. And I look at her and I feel joy. Don't you feel joy when you look at her?
Oh, yeah, sure. When she's screaming and yelling and telling her own, supposedly her own supporters at her rallies that she's speaking and they need to sit down and be quiet. Oh, yeah, I feel the joy oozing out of her, Kevin. Sure. I mean, yeah, I want to quote something. It was an interaction that you had fairly recently, and I'm fascinated at how, I don't know if the Hollywood left, if they believe their own garbage or if they're just spewing it out there thinking that others will believe it. But Whoopi Goldberg, whom I don't watch very often on The View, explained, or woman-splained, or whoopee-splained to all of us the other day that Hollywood is a, quote, right-leaning town. And went on to say, you know, you don't know much about Hollywood history. She was talking to somebody else, but I'll school you. And she said that Hollywood actually leans right, which is ridiculous and fantastical to say the least. I mean, you know better than anybody, Kevin, what happens when you are honest and open about your Christianity and your conservative beliefs in that town. You got blacklisted, didn't you?
Of course I did. I'm the first cancel culture victim in Hollywood before it became a term that became so popular. My manager and agent booted me out over a dozen years ago, but my wife and I formed Sorbo Studios, and please go to sorbostudios.com. Keep you up to date, everything coming on the pipeline. But it's crazy what she said, and it's so ridiculous. It's so obvious where they stand. You see very few people. You mean myself, you got Clint Eastwood, you got Mel Gibson, of course, Jim Caviezel. There are people that are speaking up and getting out there, but we're outnumbered 100-1 easily. And for her to say that is insane. Look, every time I've been on that show, she's always been very nice to me, I'll be honest, but I doubt she'd be nice to me. Now, Joy, which is totally misnamed for Joy Behar, there's no joy in that woman's life. I mean, she was never nice. She doesn't like herself. This is a woman that just is disgusted with her own life. But
right.
To me, for them to say that, then they don't know their history, because the only time you can go back to the 1930s and 40s, there was more conservatives in Hollywood back then. Certainly the Warner Brothers, and they formed Warner Studios, were conservatives. But, the 50s started changing thing, and the 60s just really accelerated it, and it's been going downhill ever since for Hollywood. But they don't care that they can lie, they can steal, they can cheat, whatever. They honestly don't care. And their hypocrisy, they just wear it right on their sleeve constantly.
Well, and I don't judge individuals and the decisions that they make, and I can understand in that environment why some would feel it necessary to not talk about their political beliefs, to not talk about their faith-based beliefs. You took a stand on this, and you mentioned Sorbo Studios, and I just want to take the opportunity. I did it the last time we talked, Kevin, to congratulate you on saying, no, I'm going to be my own man. I'm not going to hide my beliefs, whether it be political or faith-based, obviously. And if it's necessary, I will create my own entity that can then produce good entertainment for like-minded people. And you did it with Sorbo Studios.
Well, I'm doing movies that Hollywood used to do, right? I mean, they used to do movies. They had faith-based movies back then. Actually, they do faith-based movies. It's just atheism. I mean, atheism is a very strong religion.
That's a good point. That's right.
To believe in absolutely nothing is quite amazing. But to me, this was the road that I was meant to go on. I was always conservative. I was always Christian. They kind of knew it. But the last 10, 12 years, the winds have changed drastically in Hollywood, and they come after you. Every movie I've been doing over the last probably 6, 7 years, I get people stopping me all the time on the set saying, hey, thanks for being a voice for us. So be a voice for yourself. Oh, I don't want to get blacklisted like you. And I go, blacklisted? Here you are in a movie I'm doing. You're still making a movie. But, we're the new conservatives, and, the conservatives and the Christians are the new in the closet people. The gays are out in full force. I'm just one of the guys that opened my door and said, here I am, and I don't care. You can attack me all you want.
Well, and Kevin Sorbo, our guest, of course. Kevin, you made it a point over the last year or so, and I don't know how far back this goes, to kind of reinforce the idea that masculinity is not a toxic thing. Hollywood wants us to believe that. Many on the political left want us to believe that being a man or being masculine and doing manly things is somehow a negative. And you're reinforcing, especially the younger generation, that no, that is not a negative. It's not toxic. It is perfectly natural, and it is the way that we were created. Am I correct?
Men are men and women are women. Do we have some similarities? Certainly we do, but we have differences as well. And those differences are positive on both sides. I'm not sitting there telling that. Here's the problem. We've wussified men through television and through through Washington, D.C., to what they do in terms of Hollywood. I mean, if you look at the sitcoms, ever since the 70s, the male in the family, the father in the family, is always the guy. He's chunky, he's out of shape, he's kind of a dork. The mom is the babe, right? And the kids just make fun of dad. He's the pincushion and make fun of in the family. So we've been doing this over and over again, brainwashing kids to say the fathers are not important. I love that my sons, they go to the gym, they wear T-shirts that say embrace masculinity. I love it. I mean, they have no fear in them as well to go out there and to show that, hey, there's a difference in us. I wrote a book. It's called The Bare Essentials of Fatherhood, dealing with the importance of fathers and family. Another one called The Test of Linehood. Both these books are with Brave Books. Please go to bravebooks.com. I work with Kirk Cameron on that, and just did a bunch of more ads that they'll be out there soon for these guys, because they do wonderful, morally based books that really are about what's important, family, faith, all these things. And these guys are pushing it out there, and they're growing fast and furious. So not out the Brave books right now.
And obviously the latest thing that you can find Kevin in on screen, and hopefully many of my listeners have already seen it in the theaters, is Reagan. What a fabulous film, Kevin. Congratulations for every aspect of this movie. What a great retelling of what is truly an American success story in the form of Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I hope people check it out. I have a new one coming out. It opens next month. It's a Christmas movie called God's Here. So I hope people go online, check out the trailer, and support this movie when it comes out.
Kevin, we appreciate you more than we can say. I appreciate you being a voice out of Hollyweird. I mean, I hate saying that because I don't associate you with Hollywood, really, but I do find it fascinating, the stand that you're taking, and I think you're creating a dynamic that more younger actors, younger actresses, and other people in the entertainment industry feel comfortable enough to take a stand for their own values and their own Christian faith. And I speak for the entire audience when I say thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And we got a fight on our hands. It's just, to me, look, if you're a Christian conservative in Hollywood, it's a double leper anyway. But I escaped that crazy state 6 years ago. I live in the free state of Florida. I left the worst governor for the best governor. We love it. We're there. I think one of the blessings of COVID was that 2 million more families woke up and realized they shouldn't be using public schools as a place to babysit their kids. They saw how horrible they are, and the indoctrination camps that they have leading into our horrible universities, where even Bill Maher said, don't send your kids to American universities. So my wife is a homeschool advocate. She travels the country. Her latest book is called Parents' Guide to Homeschooling. Mm-hmm. It's about making education easy and fun. So I hope people will go to Sorbo Studios and check that out as well. We have a great team that we're working together to change this, get everything out of government's hand, because as we know, like President Reagan said, the words of fear are high. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
Oh, no question about it. Kevin, thank you for everything you do. I encourage people to get over to sorbostudios.com for more information about all of the different projects you're involved in. And next time you're in Nash, come see us, my friend.
I will definitely do that. I was just there. We should have hooked up. I was there doing a speaking event.
Oh, come on, Kevin. Just hit me up.
I know.
Hit me up next time around. I'll get you in studio, okay?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. There's Kevin Sorbo, the great Kevin Sorbo, obviously, of Hercules fame. He was in the Reagan movie. You need to check that out if you've not checked it out already. And he's got a lot of films over at Sorbo Studios that you can find out more about it. And truly, a guy that put – and I say this intentionally with him off the line because I don't want to embarrass him, and I know the type of guy he is. We've spoken on a couple of occasions. Kevin risked everything. I mean, sure, he had Hercules behind him, and I'm certain that he had a good life, a very comfortable life with he and his wife and his family. But he could have – his entire career would have gone by the wayside but for the wherewithal that he had to understand that he had to create something on his own in order to further his career, because Hollywood was going to leave him behind. He was truly blacklisted by Hollywood because he wasn't afraid to talk about his Christian faith and wasn't afraid to talk about his political values and his political viewpoint.
He's actually done a bunch of stuff with Kirk Cameron since, I think, in the last 4 or 5 years, and I think some of that's been through his production studio.
I think he went through the I think he was a part of the Left Behind series that Kirk Cameron
he definitely was part of that. And then there was I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they have definitely been working together.
Well, great guys, Kirk and Kevin, and great voices for conservatism out of Hollywood, California. Not really out of Hollywood, California, but out of Hollywood, California. God is Dead was one of those that he did, where I think he played, and I saw this one. I've not seen, there's one called Miracle in East Texas, which is fairly recent that he did. I don't know if that's the Kirk joint, but he did one called God is Dead. I remember seeing that one years ago. That's probably 10 years ago now, where he played a liberal professor that forced the students to declare that they didn't believe in God if they were going to be in his class, and just the dynamic that created.
That
Great
actually,
stuff.
I think that had a sequel too.
Oh, did it?
I believe so. And as far as where he lives, give it 5 minutes, he'll live here like everybody else.
That's true. All of the well, it's harder to get them out of Florida because they don't have income tax either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is true. And
we don't
have
difficult.
their beaches.
That's right. We got the mountains though, baby. We don't have the sand, and we don't have the sand gnats, and we don't have the sinkholes, and we got the mountains, and that's what we got going for us. It's 21 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're in the fight, friends. We've been talking about it quite a bit from an election perspective. Well, let's talk about it, taking our country back, that is, from a financial perspective. You can get in the fight right now with Coin, which is the conservative credit card. Instead of funneling millions of dollars to the left like other cards, Coin advances conservative values and gives to conservative charities. Earn cash back while fighting back. Apply now at coin.com. That's COIGN.com. Coin.com for more information. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. And when you do, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Coin. Dr. Stephen Pass and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center is your one-stop shop for all things sleep apnea. So here's the deal. If you don't know that you have sleep apnea, but you're not sleeping well at night, or you find yourself waking up from time to time throughout the course of the evening, the possibility exists that you do, in fact, have sleep apnea. Secondarily, if you've already been diagnosed and you find yourself CPAP intolerant, Dr. Stephen Pass and Dr. Brian McLaughlin, who has now joined the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center, they have exceptional results with their FDA-approved mouthpiece that I wear in my sleep, in my home, every single night. I could not wear a CPAP machine. I just couldn't. I know that I couldn't, but I do have mild sleep apnea. If you find yourself with mild sleep apnea, what a great time to get your appointment and to get in to see Dr. Pass and Dr. McLaughlin. Why? Because they're in network with BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, TRICARE, and Medicare. That means that if you've met your deductible with any of those insurance options, it's a great time to go ahead and see what they can do for you at the Sleep Apnea Center. 2 locations. One is in Brentwood and the other in Murfreesboro. The website is drposs.com. That's drposs.com for Dr. Stephen Poss, Dr. Brian McLaughlin, and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center.
Hear how much money former President Trump claims he's going to save the average American family in the first year of his second term if elected. He's speaking in Albuquerque, and we've got some of that for you at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN Halloween. Bell K has selected bumpers, all movie related.
That sounds creepy.
Horror movie related.
Horror movie related.
Horror.
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 Horror. And we are, I want to say Rosemary's Baby.
Bingo.
Did I get it right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Rosemary's Baby.
I'm proud of that one. It just felt like Rosemary's Baby, didn't it?
It actually does, very much so.
It sounds like Mia Farrow singing and, doing her thing. Ugh, creepy. By the way, check your email because we had a little bit of confusion. We're going to talk to somebody that's trying to raise money and resources for East Tennessee and even into Western North Carolina coming up in just a couple of minutes for just a few minutes, and he wasn't sure if he was coming on or not. I just wanted to alert you to that, Bell. 28 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, apparently the movie is called God's Not Dead, and all of y'all are mad at me for saying it wrong, and I'm sorry. I apologize sincerely. I'll try to shut up.
You're going to hell for that.
I don't know what to tell you. But people, I said God is dead, and it's God is not dead, and okay, got it. Thank you for all of you keeping me straight on the Super Text line, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to get involved in the show, 615-737-9986. I think we should, I think we should get Donald Trump involved a little bit. Donald Trump was talking to the masses last night in his safety vest.
Orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon our people. The most egregious. It's disgusting what she did. She's violated her oath and eradicated our sovereign border and unleashed an army of migrant gangs. They're waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens like we've never suffered before. We've never had this before in our country. It's an invasion, ladies and gentlemen. It's an invasion. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and girls. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office.
He's not wrong, folks. Her policies, and along with, her title of border czar, call her what you will, they have allowed individuals to come into the United States of America that ought not be here. And with those individuals, some of them are decent enough people, I suppose. But those individuals bring with them drug cartel members, thugs, human traffickers, the likes of which Donald Trump just described. He's not wrong in that she has been allowing this to happen and claimed for 2.5 years, really 3 years, that there was no issue. There was no there, we were told. I don't know about you, but I voted for the garbage guy, which I suppose makes me a garbage guy. But it is, it's razor thin, and I'll tell you, I go back and forth. I don't do well being hopeful like this. I don't do well looking at these numbers and seeing hope, but I also want to encourage anyone listening, not just in the state of Tennessee, but in Georgia and North Carolina and any point where there is a purple state or a more rigorously contested election, you got to run through the tape, folks. You got to run through the tape. Do not depend on polls and do not depend on your fellow man. You've got to vote like your vote is the deciding one, deciding what direction we go in to chart American history for the next 4 years and beyond. It's 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. The rain still making its way toward Nashville. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Election 2024.
Using just very conservative estimates, we will save the typical household $7,000 in the first year alone.
That's former President Trump campaigning in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Meanwhile, Pierre Thomas sitting down with the nation's top cybersecurity official discussing election security, saying that while she's confident ballots will be cast safely and securely, foreign interference could cause mayhem for those nervous about the process.
The issue where she is concerned is the disinformation that the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, but particularly the Russians, are putting forth barrels and barrels, voluminous amounts of information on social media to basically confuse Americans, make them angry and anxious about the voting.
Right now in Nashville, a man accused of shooting at a police officer is in custody. 66-year-old John Carney allegedly fired toward a South Precinct officer who was responding to a domestic dispute around 2:30 this morning. Officer Dylan Mercado, a 2-year veteran with MNPD, says he saw Carney chasing a woman, yelling he was going to kill her. And when Officer Mercado got to the woman, he heard a gunshot. Carney was ordered to drop his weapon. He did, but then ran away into some woods. Well, police got him anyway. They booked him on domestic assault, aggravated assault on an officer charges. And a canine found the gun Carney allegedly had, a 9mm. Money news, a lot of Americans say rising prices are their top issue this election. Now an inflation gauge closely watched by the Fed has fallen to its lowest level since 2021, says Sherry Preston.
Consumer prices rose just 2.1% in September from a year ago, just slightly above the 2% target that the Federal Reserve had set to try to get the economy back on track after pandemic price hikes. The Commerce Department also reporting consumer spending jumped 0.5% from August to September. That helped the overall economy grow during the third quarter.
Now, Bankrate says prices are still 21.4% more expensive since February 2020. And that's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Just because it's getting cooler outside, just because it's almost November into December, doesn't mean that you don't need quality pest control in your home. Now, here's the deal. The outside pests, the outside bugs, those bugs that live in your yard, they want to come into your house now because it's getting cooler. You know what I'm saying? And they do so unless you stop them. You need U.S. Pest Protection, a barrier of protection that it's like a stop sign. No more bugs coming in here. U.S. Pest does it every single day. J.K. and Erica are great Americans. They're good people, and they run a fabulous company, a company that people want to work for and a company that people want to work with. Whether it's commercial or residential, they will help you out. Now, if you're a residential customer, don't stop your coverage over the winter months because that coverage, you need to keep up with that coverage so you're ahead of the game come spring, especially for those invasive type pests. And plus, the rodents and the mice and the roaches and all of those things, they want to get into your house to steal your stuff. They're little communists, these bugs. USPest.com, USPest.com, or 590-1260. That's 590-1260 for our friends at U.S. Pest.
Yeah.
You're the caretaker here.
Yeah.
There you go, baby.
You've always been the caretaker here.
Little hair of the dog that bit me, Lloyd.
Oh, yeah. You chopped your kids up into little bits. And then he says, and then you killed yourself. A little Shining for you, which I hated The Shining when I first saw it.
Seriously?
Because I had just read the book.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen Dr. Sleep?
Yes.
I've not seen Dr. Sleep.
They take the...
Very good.
Because
they take the
Dr.
ending
Sleep
of The Shining and they stick it on the tail end of the Dr. Sleep movie.
Oh, do they?
It's like, what are you thinking?
Oh, but, you know...
I like it.
But the scene, I mean, Jack Nicholson just makes the film.
Oh, yes.
I mean, obviously. I think the supporting cast, what is that? I always get them. Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall and the little kid. Red Rhyme, the little kid. And all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Man, that scene where she realizes all the time that he's been typing, all the time that he's been working on this novel.
Same thing over and over.
Same thing over and over again. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And she realizes how crazy he is, and then he realizes she realizes. Wendy, darling, light of my life. You're not listening. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. Oh, man. Anyway, we're doing a little Halloween flicks on the show today. That's been a lot of fun. 615-737-9986 if you want to get involved. So speaking of getting involved, here's an opportunity for you to do so. Our next guest, our next gentleman on the line here, is a man by the name of Dennis Bouch. Dennis Bouch is a doctor. He is a reverend. He is a pastor of the Pennington Fellowship Church in Nashville. And he reached out to me in need of some assistance. And I'm going to let Dennis tell you about what they're trying to do at the Pennington Fellowship Church. Reverend, good afternoon. Welcome in. Thank you for being on with us. How are you?
I'm great. Hey, thank you for having me, Matt. And I appreciate Mr. Bell as well.
Well, it's absolutely a pleasure to have you. Tell a little bit about your church. I don't know a lot about Pennington Fellowship Church in Nashville, but I would love to know more. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, hey, we're Pennington Fellowship Church. We're located on Pennington Bend in Nashville, across the street from the Grand Ole Opry. And up until about 2 years ago, we were a United Methodist Church. We disaffiliated about 2 years ago, and we're an independent church now, but we're exploring other opportunities. Perhaps the Global Methodist. We're a medium-sized church. We have wonderful, wonderful people here, and we have been collecting goods for the disaster folks out east. We have sent a couple of truckloads out already, and this is an ongoing thing, Matt. I'm really concerned about the people. The cold weather is coming. Thanksgiving is coming. Christmas is coming. And everybody's going to be concerned or busy with their own events, rushing around getting groceries, having to have children here and there. And I think the folks out east will be forgotten about. So what this community, and I want to give credit to the community, not just Pennington Fellowship Church. We have partnered with several other churches that have come alongside us, and they're contributing and donating goods and non-perishable foods, clothing. Home Depot was very kind, and they were able to give us 50 buckets that we plan to fill those buckets with personal hygiene items, soap, deodorant, feminine hygiene products, things of that nature. But we are continuing to collect every and anything we can that these folks can use. And I just wanted to get an opportunity to share that with the community, and I appreciate you letting that or facilitating that to make that happen.
Well, Reverend, if we can't do this, if we can't remind people what the most important things are, and that's helping out our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones, and those to the east of us or wherever the need might be, then I don't know what we're doing. I mean, honestly. So, I mean, it is absolutely my pleasure to get the word out for you and your congregation. I just appreciate so much that you so clearly are focused in on what your mission is, and that is helping out our fellow man in need, right?
Absolutely. And, we are called to be the hands and feet of Christ. And that's what we need to do. And I'm not originally from Nashville, but I got here as soon as I could. It took me about 50 years to get here. But
I like that. I like that.
One of the things that some of the folks that came in that donated items, clothing, and foods and such things, they remembered when this area, Pennington Bend, was hit hard about 10 years ago in a flood. And people came in here and said, "Hey, Pastor, I remember everything I had was lost, and people that I didn't know came and they helped me out. So I feel compelled or obligated to do the same for these folks in East Tennessee." And the reality is, when we learned about the loss of life and we learned about people who have lost their homes, it's just heartbreaking when we sit down knowing that Thanksgiving is coming up, and we'll sit down at our kitchen table in our houses, and these people don't even have a kitchen table or a house. And I just think that we need to mobilize the people, and we will take and accept anything. And if you need us to come pick it up, we can make those arrangements as well.
One more time, Dennis, for those who might have missed it the first time around, how can people get in contact with you, the church, and how can people give specifically?
Okay, the church number is 615-883-3074. And we're located at 2745 Pennington Bend Road in Nashville. And all they need to do is call that number, and we'll get back in touch with them, and we'll schedule a time where they can drop anything off. Or if they want to send a check, just please make sure that they note in the memo line disaster relief, and we'll take cash as well. But I'd prefer a check. I don't want to get into the nonsense of handling money, but we'll take a check. We'll take non-perishable foods. We'll take clothing. We'll take any item that you feel is beneficial to the folks out east.
Well, I so appreciate you. And when I got your email, Dennis, I appreciated the fact that there are others in our community that want to try to remember those in East Tennessee and obviously a little bit further east toward western North Carolina that are still suffering a month or a little over a month later. And I'm so glad to hear that Pennington is doing so and that you're doing so. And anything we can do to help, we'll do. I appreciate you stopping by today.
Matt, please share this contact information with anybody that may call you or reach out to you. And perhaps some of those other people, I know it was Antil, I can't remember his first name yesterday, that was speaking to you. I would love to partner with him. We've got a woman in our congregation, works for Allied Trucking, and they're providing trucks for us to ship this east. So anybody, we can collectively make an impact if we come together. But when we're scattered and spread out, it might not be as impactful as if we come together and be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, God bless you, Reverend. We appreciate you, everything you're doing. And it's Steve, by the way. His first name's Steve Antle, Antle. And I can hook you guys up as well offline. But I appreciate you so much. And anything you need from us, just let us know.
Hey, God bless. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
And thank you, Bell. And thank everybody at 99.7. God bless you.
Thank you. There's Reverend Dennis Bouch from the Pennington Fellowship Church, offering a reminder that there are still people in our state suffering, and I appreciate everything that he's doing to assist those good folks. Rain is coming. If you are planning on a Halloween celebration, a Halloween party, or perhaps you're taking out the kids to go a little trick-or-treating, then you might get a bit wet. You might want to consider going as a Trump supporter and putting on the old garbage bag. Bell, before we go, I have a question for you and Mr. Ken Weaver. Your best or favorite Halloween costume of all of your life was?
Mine was a hippie outfit my dad drew for me whenever I was in the third grade.
Man, I went as so many hobos. You know what they did for me?
I was kind of like a hippie hobo.
Yeah, I did. We did hobos almost every year. You know why? Because my clothes looked like hobo clothes.
Yeah.
They gave me a stick with a red bandana on it and put a little 5 o'clock shadow on my face and put me a cap on, and I was a hobo.
What did your grandmother use for the 5 o'clock shadow?
Her mascara or eyeliner or whatever. She would. She would literally take the little. I guess it's. What's the stuff that they put on their eyes? That would be eyeliner, right?
Yeah, eyeliner or mascara for the lashes.
Okay, it was the lashes thing because I remember her pulling it out and scraping it across my face.
Yeah,
my dad drew a little caveman crawling out of my shirt pocket.
Mine when I got out of the hobo mode and I was so excited because I didn't think I was going to get this for Halloween, but my grandmother got me a Fonzie outfit.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had the Fonzie mask, but here's the best part, Ken. I had the blue jeans, and I had the shoes, and I had a white T-shirt, but I did not have
jacket.
I didn't have a leather jacket.
Oh, man.
Do you know what my grandma bought me?
Leather jacket.
A leather jacket.
A fake leather jacket.
Fake leather. Pleather.
That's fine, though. I didn't care. Yeah. I didn't give a rip. For me, it was far more important than real leather.
Yeah, the look mattered more than the substance.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I absolutely love that thing. And we went down the street, and I think my brother was a hobo, and he was too old to go trick-or-treating. I was like 11 or 10, and he was probably 13 years old. And that's the night that we hit the dude over the head with the flashlight, with the mag light. Our grandpa gave us... Our grandpa gave my brother the big, one of those big industrial mag lights, which were huge back in the day and really heavy.
With the big old long handle?
About that long.
How are you not in prison?
No, and so we went. And so this was like I thought this guy was like 40. He was probably like 20, but he thought he was being cute. Because there was a light on, a real dim light on the porch. And so we went up and, there was question. There was about 5 of us in a group, in a wad. And there was question as to whether or not this was an appropriate house to go to. And it was spooky, and there was spooky music playing. Okay, these people have set up for trick-or-treaters. And so we go in. Well, we didn't know in the corner on the porch was a dude sitting there kind of hidden. And my brother was right beside me to my left. And that guy went, rah! And my brother went, bam! And hit him right on the head with that mag light. And the guy's like, what are you doing? And we just ran, just scattered.
I've experienced that same thing where they're dressed up and you assume it's like a dummy or something off to the side.
Yes.
And then suddenly it moves and your heart jumps out of your throat.
So with all of that life lesson, what am I going to do tonight? I'm going to sit on somebody's front porch in a mask with a machete just waiting on a kid to try something. Just waiting on one of you kids to try something.
Karma says you got to take the hit.
Well, that's true. That would be karma coming full circle some 39 years later. We'll check in with Brian Wilson and see what he's going as. I bet it's something tall for Halloween on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Anticipating Brian Wilson coming up in mere moments on The Drive with Brian Wilson, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Right now, I'm here to tell you that Brian Wilson is experiencing quite a deluge of rain and wind and whatnot, which has caused a slight internet issue. But that's okay, because I'm here for you in case Brian cannot be. One way or the other, we'll get out to Watertown Way, or we'll keep it right here just off Music Row in the studios of Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Bell K, what is the scariest movie of all time?
Of all time?
Mm-hmm. To you. I mean, it's obviously a personal,
it's subjective, but
personal choice.
I would say I have no idea. There's just too many.
Ken Weaver, any ideas?
Hereditary.
Boy, Hereditary's up there.
Freaked me out.
Hereditary's pretty good.
Let me tell you. To my family, whenever it's quiet, we're sitting around, I go.
If you've seen them. If
you know, you know.
You know. Have you ever seen a movie called Sinister?
Yes.
Yeah. That movie is insanely
terrifying. That's actually my second.
I must have just gotten inured in my older age because none of those movies scare me.
And also, Sinister has been rated from, and they're doing this not just subjectively. They put heart monitors on people, and Sinister rated the highest spike in beats per minute of heart rate, 131 beats per minute, average audience rate in Sinister. Yeah. I don't know when that was, but I don't know. Maybe when the guy decided to cut the grass. If you know, you know.
Goodness,
yard work.
That's that one right there.
Woo! Come up on you. Hopefully, Brian Wilson is coming up. If not, I'll be right back. The Drive is on the way right after Ken Weaver's newscast. If I see you, I see you. And if I get to say hello to you, I'll say hello to you. And if not, have a wonderful and happy Halloween. So long, everybody.